Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is where I ask you to hit the bell, like, and sub. But what you didn't know is I have a Discord and we stream on Twitch where we talk and do things music and production. All the links are in the description down there. Hair metal musicians reacting to grunge. Now, this caught my eye because we live in a world where we have metal snobs knocking down anything new or old. I wanted to see if this was familiar or not to our current scenes, you know what I mean? So let's check this out. Watch as members of Motley Crue, Poison, and Def Leppard and other hair metal bands give their opinions about the genre that killed their momentum, grunge. Yeah, history repeats itself like crazy. So if hair metal bands were concerned about grunge ruining what they're doing, who today would be the hair metal band and who is the grunge band? I think if we want to talk about some niche metal stuff, I would say the hair metal band might be the metalcore band. And I think the grunge is kind of this like new rising trend in deathcore. I think heavier music is actually shaming out metalcore right now because what can you do in metalcore that's fresh anymore? It's been done. Everything you can do in metalcore has been done. So we gotta push out the boundary borders to other places. And I think deathcore is figuring it out because deathcore is getting catchier. they're adding cleans. It's getting more pissed. Yeah, pisscore, deathcore, kind of a mix, you know what I mean? Post-hardcore, I don't know about post-hardcore. That's just kind of like I feel like the post-hardcore has kind of been in the background for a while. You know, I think a lot of post-hardcore these days are now kind of just like alt metal, alt rock. Warrant singer Janie Lane was one of the first hair metal artists to see writing on the wall. Okay, so yeah, I think they got a video. Let's check this out. This should be interesting.
Sitting down at a big, long board table at Mercury Records, and we had only sold 1.5 million records on the first 2 singles.
Only.
And
hold on.
I'm quoting them.
Oh my goodness, we only sold 1.5 million records, guys. I don't think any of these guys obviously are like necessarily right in what they're doing. Sorry, they're not necessarily right in the fact that like their music's getting ruined. I think it's just this is what happens when bands don't want to evolve and change. And then here comes the new stuff and then they're like, I don't like this whatsoever, and then they dig their heels in deeper on their own sound and music. It's interesting because you have bands that evolve and change and bands that don't. Very rarely do you have a band that kind of balances out both things, so you get like haters on both sides. Yeah, this is interesting.
I think it's time for a revolution, a musical revolution of some sort. Someone's got to do something original here.
Okay, this shit's getting first off, someone's got to do something original. I think that's funny because we hear that all the time. Everyone's always complaining about it. It just sounds like a repeated thing. But the thing is like everyone in the music scene gatekeeps from anyone being able to do anything fresh. Like it's a double-edged sword. Like it's not possible. I mean, he's not wrong. It's got to happen. But I swear, this sounds like I could be hearing this interview today.
I still don't like it. I never understood about singing about how up your life is when everybody knows their lives are up. The next generation was more about, you know, teen angst and, you know, I hate my parents rather than let's go out and have some fun and chicks.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, you know, but like music's an outlet for a lot of people. They've been doing that since forever, man. I mean, people put their negative energy out through their music better than going and beating up the next person that you see, using your music as an outlet, but they've been doing that since forever. I mean, Ozzy was doing stuff like that way back in. Yeah, Ramones, Sex Pistols, glam rock was kind of meaningless in lyrics. Grunge was the real deal that people can touch. This is what I'm saying. Grunge gave people something to freaking relate to. Like he said, everyone's going through shit. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Like, I feel better knowing that someone else is going through the same bullshit that I'm going through. And then like hearing a song where like, I don't know, I kind of think of like Attila, All About That Life. You remember that when that came out? You see that kind of stuff and you're just like, I don't know, some people thought that was cringe, but other people were like, that's fucking awesome and fun, but I'm never gonna have that. I don't got that kind of money or access to resources of houses and cars and chicks and stuff like that. Like it's just kind of like that unreachable level. But when you get, you know, musicians letting out their, you know, negative feelings about things, it feels a little better to connect with someone emotionally like that.
I was like, yes, somebody's fucking stirring it up. Everything just sounding the same. And I love it when someone throws a fucking grenade into the mix.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, it's nice to hear that someone out there is supporting the fact of like, let's throw some more left turns in this. No one does anything original, says dude that's in a hair metal band. Okay, dude.
I don't mean this in a bad way. You know, you take Cobain, some of those bands were, that era of music was really depressing, but some of those guys were, and obviously by his death, his were really depressed. Was deep, and it's a shame because he had great music. But here's the thing, a lot of that era completely died too. It just didn't get as beat up as our era.
Yeah,
If you're gonna live big, meaning if you're going to live excessive, you also got to remember you're going to take that beating when it comes down. Our band never went in and said we hated what we did. And the mistake the bands of the 80s made, a lot of them, every one of them was like, oh, I was never in that band. I hated the music. And that's a diss to the fans.
I think it's interesting how he points out that, like, not only do these bands in the grunge have that kind of like that depression and sorrow and sadness and angst that they're putting into their stuff, and then he points out the fact that, look, the guy literally blew his head off. I mean, like, it's obvious that these people are going through something.
I turned up with a cassette that I'd made of 90 minutes of the songs that I thought we should listen to either embrace or avoid, but we should be aware of.
There's a lot of bands went up the ladder, got famous bands.
Meanwhile, while I'm signing this ass,
And then the 80s kind of peaked out, and everybody's done with the hair, and they started going down the ladder, and the record sales were dropping off, and they broke up.
They become just a bunch of...
and shampoo sales went down. Can I just say right now, Dee Snider looks like a guy that should never take his hair and makeup get up off, right? I think like this guy should permanently look like the way we are used to seeing him. Can I just point that out?
Everybody from the 80s just go,
I'm not a rap fan, sorry.
you know, that sucked. Can you believe it? And I'm like, I can't even go out anymore. I can't hear this. You know what I mean? It was humbling at best or at worst, depending on how you look at it, you know?
Yeah, so I love this thumbnail. I hate you. If I were to pull anything from this video, I would say that I find it funny how constantly, every generation of music, you have a large group of bands and artists that don't want to move on from what they're doing. They don't want to evolve. They don't want to improve their sound to move with time. This has been happening on and on again. This is why so many bands end up staying just pretty much the way they sound. Rarely do we get bands that genuinely evolve as they go. And even the ones that do don't get noticed that much, because how can you stay with trending music? Like, is there a single artist out there that has achieved a constant drive of like trend hitting all the music trends? I don't think so. I mean, like today, you might be able to say Bring Me the Horizon on a pop side, you know, because they can do stuff from old school deathcore up to modern pop stuff. Yeah, I mean, Bring Me the Horizon's pretty close. Look at Metallica the last 30 years. It's the same record, just different riffs. I mean, yeah, that just shows you how an example of a band that wants to, but Metallica did try. They got freaking crucified for it, you know, it just shows you the same problems that people, they actually tried, load and reload. Well, first off, just to go on a little Metallica thing, Black Album, first real big risk. Black Album was a success though. Now they did get a lot of hate because you sold out, but they did do Halsey a little bit. But I think Metallica, just to finish this thought, Black Album happened, major success, but it was a change. They had a lot more bass and hooks and stuff in the music. Then they did Load and Reload. Personally, love those records, but I understand completely why people didn't like it. They went even more left turn. They added like the blues and country vibes in their songs, more of a rock sound. Then they did Saint Anger. I don't even mind Saint Anger as much. Dude, I was in high school when Saint Anger came out, so I was moldable. I ended up liking it regardless. As they got further down that path, people rejected more and more of the Metallica until they finally started warming up their thrash roots again with Death Magnetic. Then they did, you know, the Hardwired to Self-Destruct, and now they got the new stuff that straight up got smashed with one of their old Kill 'Em All songs, and it worked. If there's anything to take away, either love what you love or evolve, but like to hate bands that are trying to do new things, like there's just no place for that, you know? I'm for new things, fresh things, fusing things together. Let's keep that going. And let's not keep recreating this cycle as much as we possibly can. Yeah, get off my lawn!